Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again, and here with a late night video, guys, because I want to share with you my street tech style first impressions of the Vivo V27. This is the regular Vivo phone from the V27 Pro. We looked at it earlier. Now we're looking at its regular V27 brother. Here it is, guys, and your first look on Frankie Tech of the Vivo V27, and they sent over this beautiful green colored version to me. Very similar, obviously, you can tell, to the design of the V27 Pro, and a lot of the details of this phone are going to be very similar to that phone. So I just want to share my initial impressions of this phone, starting with design. At 7.36 millimeters, 183 grams. This is another very slim device from Vivo, and as you can tell, they've included this beautiful green back, but it is glossy compared to the previous version. But let me show you guys, does this have that same type of UV thing going on in the back? Absolutely, guys. There you see it. And you can see me there. Look how glossy it is. It's fully reflective. But it's cool that they've been able to include this type of glossy back here on this phone. And you can kind of change the color of this thing very nicely. All in all, I wish it was a matte back, but I do appreciate the color. The camera module is exactly the same as the Vivo V27 Pro. Now talking about display, and here we see it. Remind me later, we have that beautiful 6.78-inch AMOLED 120Hz display. It is fantastic. The same display, guys, they're using in this phone as the Vivo V27 Pro. So if you're using, a smaller display mid-range and you want to get a flagship level display, it's all the same, positive things that I commented on the V27 Pro in this phone, just at a lower price, because you do get that beautiful 6.7-8-inch display. You do get that curved edge, which I think a lot of you guys do appreciate or consider kind of a flagship feature at this point still. I'm not a huge fan, but I don't mind a slight curve like it is here on the V27. It is a beautiful display. Definitely one of the highlights of this phone. Now, in terms of performance, we are talking about something a bit different here, though, from the Vivo V27. And you can see it here. We're using a different chipset, guys. The 2.8 gigahertz. Let's lower the brightness a little bit. 2.8 gigahertz Dimensity 7200. This is an octa-core processor with 12 gigs of RAM plus 8 gigs of virtual RAM. Android version 13, 256 gigs of storage. I think that's actually a good amount of storage considering the price. The RAM and the storage are definitely flagship level. The Dimensity 7200, though, isn't as much of a flagship, I would say. And from what I've seen, just general impressions, it does run a little bit slower, I would say, than the 8200, which is a bit more of a high mid-range chipset. This is, I would say, is in the range of a mid-range chipset. But of course, stay tuned for my full analysis of this phone once I do put it through its paces. Now, the biggest difference here, beyond that though, guys, you'll have very similar features of this as the Vivo V27 Pro, including that 4,600 milliampere capacity, but you only have 66 watt fast charging on this. Kind of similar to what we've seen with this previous Redmi Note 12 series that I just reviewed on the channel, where you have 120 for the Pro and 67 for the for the Pro Plus and 67 for the regular. But all in all, guys, still very fast charging, and you'll be able to, plug this in and get a full charge under an hour, no problem. But what's even more exciting about this Vivo V27 are the cameras, because you think you might skimp on the regular V27. That is not the case, guys. You have the same IMX 766V with that 50 megapixel OIS included camera, 8 megapixel ultra wide and 2 megapixel macro. There you see the Aura light, same as the V27 Pro. So in a lot of cases, guys, this is really a very similar phone to the V27 Pro, and I don't know if it really merits its own dedicated review. If you haven't seen my V27 Pro review, go check it out. But I do think in this kind of really cool color, and obviously at a slightly lower price point, I think there's a lot less differentiating a lot less differences between this Vivo V27 and the V27 Pro than I think a lot of companies would do, all running with that FunTouch OS 13, which I do think is the best version of this software. It's just clean and nice and a great experience overall. Everything scrolls pretty smoothly. I just wish, that the Dimensity 7200 was something else here. Could we have seen a Snapdragon? I don't know, like a 7 Gen 1 or 7 Gen 2, I don't know. But the point is, this is definitely another phone to consider. If you're looking at the V27 Pro, I'd probably go for that one. But if you wanted to save a bit of money and still have a very similar experience, look no further than this Vivo V27. It's a solid release, guys, just like the V27 Pro. But hit me up in the comments. What are your thoughts on this phone? And which would you pick, the V27 Pro? Or would you save a bit of cash and get the V27? I'd love to hear about it. And that's it for this video. If you liked it, give me that thumbs up. And if you love the content of Frankie Tech, subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell icon for future updates. That's it, guys. Another V27 on the channel. And I'll decide if I do a full review of this one. I don't know if it really merits a full review given how similar these two phones are. But once again, appreciate all the support. Stay tuned for more great content on the way. And this is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech signing off. Have a good one. V27. Don't like the glossy back, but I love the green. Oh yeah.